We just landed at Dubai Airport, and now it's time to head into the middle of nowhere. Today we're headed to Qasr Al Sarab to give you our honest review of the beautiful desert resort. Qasr Al Sarab is located about 3 hours from the Dubai airport, about 2 hours from Abu Dhabi, in the middle of the desert. Since the resort is about 3 hours away, I was able to book transportation directly through the resort. The total cost was 1500 dirham, which is about 300 US dollars, give or take. And the car was very well equipped. He picked us up at the airport. There was water, fresh towels, snacks, soft drinks. Overall, the car ride was actually very nice. Even though we were on Emirates first class from JFK to Dubai, the car ride was just as nice. Well, obviously not just as nice, but very nice for a car ride. Surprisingly, the drive was kind of entertaining. We were tired. We had just, like I said, landed in Dubai. We weren't even in Dubai for 10 minutes before the car was there to pick us up. But you do see the transition of the color of the sand from kind of a typical white, chalky kind of sand to a burnt orange, vibrant colored sand as you get closer to the resort. The UAE really is trying to create something out of nothing. As you're driving down, you'll see that they had planted trees and shrubbery along the highway, and each of the plants has its own basically drip system, water connection, so that they can actually grow plants in the desert. And the entire time you're kind of waiting with anticipation, like, oh, is this the turn? Is it going to be here? Because there's so many sand dunes, you don't really know where you are. There's nothing for release scale. There's not really a town nearby. You're really in the middle of the desert. And like a mirage, there it is, a castle in the world's largest sand desert. When you're pulling up, it really does look like a sandcastle. What really drew us to review this property is that it is in the middle of nowhere, and you have that very beautiful orange backdrop with expansive space, and you can kind of just wander. I mean, I wouldn't wander too far because without food and water, you're probably not going to make it very far. So once you pass the last security point, you travel down a hardscaped road with sand dunes on both sides and obviously in the backdrop. And once you reach the resort entrance, you are greeted by resort staff and taken into the library, which is technically doesn't seem like the lobby. It's kind of a room off of the lobby. First impression of the lobby, I was not impressed. It was I feel like they could have done a lot more with the space. I mean, they're in the middle of the desert. They could have made it more dramatic. Maybe they wanted something a little more homey. I don't know. The layout to me was not correct. So yeah, right when you walk in, there's like a concierge on one side and reception on the other. However, they don't have a traditional check-in process. They took us to the library and they sat us down there, and we waited for a host to come and check us into our room, which is actually the butler. And while you're waiting, they give you a date kind of tea concoction, which was actually really good, and a date. And while we were waiting for the butler to check us in, we were able to walk around kind of the vicinity. We went outside and saw how incredible the view is from the back of the resort. We did arrive in the early afternoon and our villa was not ready yet, so our butler took us to the pool restaurant so we could have lunch while the room was being prepared. The cuisine was more traditional fares, tapas, kind of what you would expect from a resort pool kind of restaurant. It was a little hot, we were tired, there were flies, and which I didn't even know there were flies in the desert, but there are, FYI. But overall, the staff was very nice, but we were just kind of ready to get to our villa, to take a shower, to rest. And finally, after lunch, our villa was ready, so the butler threw us in a buggy and off we went. It's really crazy what modern irrigation can do. As you're traveling through the resort to get to the Royal Villas, which is one of the rooms that we booked, you can see there's so much vegetation throughout the resort. There's flowers. It really is mind-blowing thinking and knowing that you're in the middle of the desert. And finally, we made it to our villa. So the minute you walk in, you're greeted with dark woods and cream textured walls. To the right, you have a cute little breakfast nook, and to the left, you have a full kitchenette. And then you make your way into the living room. The living room has really nice built-ins that are lit up with different vessels and pictures, and you also have access to your back private pool and garden area. The minute you step outside, you're just engulfed in this beautiful sand dunes. It's like this beautiful red color, and then you have grass. You have your like temperature controlled plunge pool with different vessels on both sides. It really is like the ultimate indoor outdoor living. You have, like I said, grass in the middle of the desert, and your very private and secluded area is overlooking sand dunes. Like you can't really ask for more. What's nice is that the bedroom also has access to the private pool and garden area. You have day beds, you have loungers, and you also have a outdoor shower. But the best part is the fact that it overlooks the sand dunes just like the rest of the villa. And the bathroom was off of the main bedroom. It was very nice. It's not going to win any awards, but it does have a his and hers vanity, a very nice sunken tub, and this really beautiful picture window that overlooks the front courtyard. The one thing I will say though, I don't know if it was just this particular villa, but the water does not last long. So if you're traveling with multiple people, make sure to like say, hey, you got 5 minutes, I got 5 minutes, because I don't think the water lasted longer. The hot water lasted longer than 15 minutes, which is completely understandable. We are in the middle of the desert, but it's just something to keep in mind. And now that we're all settled into the villa, we decided that we would walk out directly into the sand and watch the sunset. And for dinner, we made reservations at Suhail. This is one of the restaurants located inside of the resort. It's more of like a rooftop lounge with a grill. I had steak and frites with the filet mignon and it turned out incredible. Brad, on the other hand, had kingfish and he said it was a little bland, fishy. I don't know, maybe they caught it locally. Luckily, the next day it was time for breakfast and it did not disappoint. When I tell you the buffet is fully stocked with everything you could ever think of, you have American food, you have Middle Eastern food, Japanese food, Chinese food, fresh pressed juices, from eggs to dim sum, you have everything at this buffet. Me and Brad are always really big on breakfast and we love a fully stocked buffet. The service has been very good at all of the restaurants. We spoke to one of the waiters and he said that they work a swing shift, so they work a set of hours in the morning, they take a small break, and then they come back in the evening to work dinner service at one of the restaurants at the resort. I don't know how they do it without having an attitude after working basically a full day from prepping breakfast to cleaning up after dinner, but they keep it professional and they're top notch. So now that we finished breakfast, it's time to head to the spa. The spa was absolutely gorgeous. Unfortunately, I can't show you inside because of privacy reasons, but we did end up getting the Royal Hammam treatment. This is one of their signature rituals and it is definitely well worth the time. It took about 2 hours and we had our own private hammam. It was very, very nice. I would highly recommend incorporating a spa treatment into your overall stay if you're coming to Qasr Al Sarab. And now we had some free time, so we decided we were going to explore the resort. In the center of the resort is a large freeform pool that's enjoyed by the hotel guests. And everywhere you look, there's a different water feature, there's flowers. They really did do a good job on creating such a beautiful landscape in the middle of the desert. There was a variety of different fountains and ponds. It really tied everything together and it was relaxing. It was very nice to just walk around and see the different architecture and all of the different features that the resort offers. And in the main building, you'll find the fully equipped gym. It does have a really nice view for when you're doing cardio. It overlooks the desert and some water features outside. And what looks like a first generation Peloton, which is kind of cool. Then we had light snacks in the library. It was a salmon toast with french fries, obviously a beer, and traditional Arabic dips. We chilled in the room for a little while, but then it was time for our dinner reservations at Al Falah by Dina Maki. I was really looking forward to this dinner because you're dining under the stars in the middle of the desert on beautiful Persian rugs. The food is a mixture of Middle Eastern cuisine with a Western fusion. Me and Brad are big fans of Middle Eastern food, Mediterranean food, so this place is right up our alley. The restaurant itself is completely secluded from the resort, so you do have to take a buggy to get there. Once you're seated, it's a really casual atmosphere. You have chill music in the background, fire pits, and there's lanterns lining the entire restaurant. The restaurant's kind of laid out like a buffet style, but they do start you with different breads, butters, and Middle Eastern dips. All of the dips were delicious. And for the a la carte dinner, we had the grilled sea bass fillet with coconut lemon turmeric broth and green chili. And at the buffet, they have things like pomegranate stuffed onions, orange cumin roasted chicken, and tabbouleh salad. The sea bass was so good that Brad actually had 2 of them. And for dessert, we had their special, which was a fusion of traditional kunafa and cheesecake flavored cream cheese, topped with a hibiscus, poached pear, and pomegranate syrup. It was delicious. And now it's time for our honest review of Qasr Al Sarab. The drive-in was really pretty, but to me the lobby was lacking drama. I thought they could have done a lot better. I didn't really like how the concierge and the front desk were right when you walked in on both sides. For that, I'm going to give the lobby a 6. To me, it just felt a little crammed, and I think that they could have done something to really elevate the lobby since they are in the middle of the desert and they have a lot of land to play with. The service and staff were very good, especially at the restaurants and breakfast. The front desk and concierge could have done a little bit better. I'm going to give them an 8. Overall, the resort food was pretty good. I'm going to give it a 7.5. The restaurant Al Falaj by Dina Maki, very, very good, a solid 8. The villa was very pretty with the indoor-outdoor living. The bathroom wasn't the best. I'm going to give the room an 8. We loved how secluded the resort was and the beautiful views of all of the sand dunes. We're going to give the resort an 8. And now it's time to pack up and head to the world's only 7-star hotel, the Burj Al Arab in Dubai.